What's up, guys? It's Laugh.exe with a brand new, totally professional playthrough. Today's game is getting out of a mental institution after spending 5 days on suicide watch.
So, I don't believe in a lot of occurrences of, I guess, faith or all that garbage, ha 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 ha. Such a terrible way to define a person's belief in anything. I sound like such an asshole. But when I was in Vista Del Mar for 5 days, that was fun. On my 4th day, I had expressive art therapy or whatever, and really all that meant was we could draw for a bit, and there was a therapist who would walk around, and she was this lady with red hair, and she was playing music pretty low, because like it was just supposed to be like low music, and it was the Beatles, and I liked it. I was like, oh, ha, and I wanted to paint, so I was trying to paint, and every time I paint, I always seem to paint like a waterfall. It's just kind of what I saw all the time. And so I was trying to do that, and I was trying to do some cool stuff with it. It wasn't really working out, but I kept trying. I was just making a shitty thing. I didn't think anyone was watching me. And she like started talking to me after she changed the music. Because she changed the music to David Bowie Heroes, and that's the song that I lost my virginity to. That's the song that I started to think about a lot of things. I started to have, I guess, adult thoughts about a relationship in that way. And like David Bowie was a big part of my life in that way, because I listened to a lot of his albums and such. And this kid who had recently just got admitted a day before was like, is this still the Beatles? And I like make a face, and I'm like, no, it's David Bowie. What do you mean? And the therapist lady seems to like see that I obviously am like, what do you mean? Like, if you can hear him, you'd be like, oh, it's David Bowie. And she started just talking to me and asking me about like what I like to do, and it was weird. I spoke to her. I don't mean that like stupidly. I mean like I spoke to her. I was like, oh, the reason I draw all this stuff and all like she asked if I considered myself an artist, and I was like, no, what do you mean? And she's like, what, but your glasses, like it leaks out of you. And she was like, so why are you here? And I was like, well, I tried to kill myself. And she was like, She was like, how? And I was like, oh, I tried to drop a bookshelf on my head. She's like, oh, it's a way to go. And it was so fucking fascinating. Because, like, I wasn't, like, going, like, oh, yeah, this is why. She just was like, how? I was like, oh, yeah. And she was like, okay. And, she, like, spoke to me. And, like, she was talking about how she could see that I was an artist and all these, and like that she goes to all these places and she never lies. She never lies when she's at these places. She never lies, and she's like in these like. These weren't all in that session. But like I like this one. And she told me that the only way to go forward is through the work and through the art. Told me to look up installations because the things I like to make are installations. She was the most fascinating art therapist I've ever met. She told me about David Bowie and the one time she met him and how he was with Imam and she was beautiful. And it just sort of felt like David Bowie sent her. He knew I was sad. And he went, somebody needs to tell him to keep going. I don't believe in anything sometimes. I believe in that. I believe that fucking somewhere in this fucked up world, that woman was sent to tell me that, hey, like, I know that you're hurting. You don't have to. The way to get through it is to walk through it, and is to make it through it, and is to make as much noise as you can. Because at the end of the day, all we are is background noise. That no matter how famous we are, and no matter how good we get, no matter how hard we train ourselves, some people just will never know our names. And they'll get us confused with the Beatles, and they'll get us confused with other things, and they'll get us confused with the radio, and they won't know who you are, no matter how hard you fight. But the only way is to walk through it, and the only way is to make the art, and just to fucking make the noise. Because the noise is the only thing we have. She told me about David Bowie. She told me about Imam and how beautiful she was. And it just felt like David sent her to go, hey, make sure to respect your partner and keep making everything and stay humble. Stay humble in everything that you do. Because if you don't, what's the point? What are you gaining if you don't stay humble in what you have? And I understand that. This has been a really difficult experience for me. It's kind of been impossible. I guess.
Well, this game sucks so far. Oh boy. But I'm okay, so it's fine. Fuck you.